My fine focus system for the 20 watts and bigger is ready and it's alive. You get a new grill here which improves cooling and slightly reduces noise. You need a 150mm rod here. That's M4, but for my American friends you can use whatever's equivalent in inches. You make yourself a front plate, a back plate, a top plate, and the knob here. Let's spin this off to take the laser off for maintenance, shall we? Show you how quick it is. No excuse for having dirty lenses now. Bring it all the way to the top, bring it forward, drop it down. That's it, that's your laser out. So what else did I do? I made myself a back plate here. That reduces the slot from the aluminium guide. Now we're going to take the whole thing apart. So there you go, front is off, access now to here to do any maintenance that you like. Oh, this is epic. This is the first part being cut with my new fine focus system. Just adding an addition to the part to make maintenance easier. I'm very excited and it's good to have the 20 watt working again finally. So you've got a big diode laser with a big fan on the top, and you used to have two stupid screws here that used to lock it in the focus position. Well, that's so last year. Look, now got the fine focus system. This fits the longer laser, but you can easily adapt it to suit your own laser because these modules are pretty standard. You've just got to adapt it for the back plate. Now, right, let's change the focus. What's my focus at the moment? What's that? 10.5mm. Let's make it 11mm. Let's now drop it down. 11mm, set the focus. No screws here, they're all gone. Yes, we're using the V-slot system to hold the laser, and because we've now got a third point of contact at the top, the laser holds itself in. Because of the V-slots, there is no slop. Yes, you can probably buy metal ones that may be better, I'm not sure, but this is a great DIY solution. Hi, Andy here. Thanks for tuning in. If you're new here, you're very welcome, and if you're returning, thanks for your continued support. Well, that's enough of the sales pitch. Let's get into the video to show you how to glue this project up. Not particularly difficult. All the parts sort of stack on top of one another, and a lot of the parts share the same hole pattern, so it's quite obvious where they go. Well, I would say that because I designed it, wouldn't I? But yeah, it's a straightforward video, but I do show you some tips and tricks, especially how when I'm crafting the new V-slot backplate, I made a little jig to get the correct chamfer that's required, and the reason for the chamfer is only to stop the laser falling out. The actual flat part of the V-groove system is the part that guides it up and down. And once you've made that part, if you've got some furniture polish or some beeswax, if you just put that on the MDF, it does make it glide up really nicely up and down. I think you'll be pleased with it. Far better than the aluminium backplate that comes as standard. And you've already seen that there's no need for the two locking screws on the side. They're all gone. Purely the new M4 rod supports the laser, so there's no need for the locking screws. As there's no slop in the back plate, there is no need to lock it in position because the laser does not move. Anyway, I'll let you get on and see the video, and I will join you at the end. Hello, and thank you for purchasing my file for the fine focus system for a big laser, the 20, 30 or 40 watt laser. So I have tried to indicate on the cut files which sides get glued together, but having a visual representation is far easier. So let's start off with the simple ones first. The tongues you just glue up similar to that. I mean, nothing too special about that. Get them as square as possible, really. Okay, let's start at the top. So the top part here is in two parts. So you can see that they just glue on top of one another, nothing special in alignment. You can use, when you're gluing it together, you can use this section to push on there, even if this is not glued up, to push on there to align the boxes. Now if it's a very tight fit, just use a little needle file around there and just open them up again. It's always good to do a test first, do your test cut first, sort out your curve settings, and then you're away. So when you're gluing that up, just push that on there. Even if you've got no glue on that, put some clamps on there, leave it a minute or so, pull it off so you don't get any squeeze out on there, clamp it up, and that's job done. So the next part here is in 3 parts. So you've got 2 identical parts, which are the main supports here, and you just use the hole pattern to align them up. Now the important thing is when you're gluing the strengthening plate up here on the bottom, that you get this hole up the top as I'm showing you now, and then you put that on there. So nothing too special. Again, when you're assembling the front plate, you'll get a small groove right along the front of the part. So right down there, you can see it now, and that's the part that sits on the flat front plate. Glue it up square. So once this is glued up, you can use that there when you're gluing up, and then clamp up, and then it's all going to fit nicely when you go to assemble it. Now the last part is the part that fits over the curved, I think it's a backplate if I remember rightly. So nothing too special on there, it's quite self-explanatory. Again, you can use this part to push through there, and before you do any glue up, it's always good to do a dry fit. Now I just sprayed these black and it fits a bit tight, so I just need to shave off a bit of the paint to make it fit. But as you're gluing it up, you can push that in there, push it fully home. That's not fully home there, and then put your glue on, clamp it up, and then with a small electrical screwdriver I just ran it round there to get rid of any squeeze out. And in particular, excuse me, just run something in there to get the squeeze out in there, and get the squeeze out in there. Now I do say in the cut file, just here and here, just use a small needle file or a round file, and just, even you probably can't see in this, you can just see there, here you can just see there are a dish, so a slight semicircle that I've used the file for. You can just see it here and here, and what that helps is when you're pushing this over, you've got a screw that drops in there. It just it prevents these 2 parts being pushed apart. So when you're pushing this onto the back plate, the head of the screw is now going down that channel you've made nicely, and then it pops into that hole, same that side. So that's it, that is the glue up, nothing special. So you do need a rod. Let me go and get the fan. So I've got one here. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 parts to this. So the grill goes on the top, and then you've got 2 spacers. You start off with the square with the smallest hole, because that's the one where the bolts capture. Why is my camera auto zooming? I don't like that. So you start with the plate with the smallest hole, and then the one with nothing, and then the one with the grill, and then this one. So when you're gluing up, remember you got to put the rod in. So that rod, I believe, was 160. You can make it longer and chop it down. I think I made that rod 150, but it depends how much travel you want on your laser. Let me zoom. So all I did to secure the nut, there's a nut on the bottom of that rod, I just used a bit of super glue, and then before you put the grill on and then the strengthening plate on, you must put the rod in the hole to secure it. The idea of these 3 screws and the one on the bottom, it just strengthens this area, so there's no chance of it coming apart. So I've put on the bottom fan plate, and that's the one with the smaller holes, and that holds the base on. So now I'm just going to slip in the one with the hexagonal nut hole, and then the top grill. Now they're going to be glued up, but I want to check the line from this hole up to that hole to see how well we've glued up the bracket at the back. So I'm going to drop that through. So I've dropped that bolt through and the line is looking good. So now I'm happy that I'm going to glue up the fan shroud, and then this is still dry fit. And then I'm going to put the support plate on and then do the last dry fit before I glue it all up. The bottom fan grill plate wants to be a snug fit, so if you just have to just sand the edges down to get it a snug fit, and that stops any air being drawn in down past it. The others just sit on top, so they're not too critical. Now you will need some slightly longer M3 screws. Just take yours out. If I take this one out now, this is the 20-watt version, and the 20-watt version you can use the existing screws, but the 30-watt laser is about 5mm taller. So those screws are 30mm, so you need at least a 35mm long screw, again tapered head, for the 30-watt module to fit, because these screws aren't long enough. If you get 40mm, I don't believe it's a problem, because the screws will just go past the bit that you're screwing it into. And that's it. So you want to make sure that this fan fits tightly onto the top. So if you need to just run a bit of sandpaper around the wooden part, then that's fine. This is the thin version I was trying, but it was too weak. So in the file you'll find this section here is thicker, and this hole's been made slightly bigger because I now use an 8mm silicone tube down here. 40mm long, but that was massively too long. 35mm will do you. Then the handle, I think that's quite self-explanatory. The 2 smaller circles here is just to give you your fingers some room. Then the bigger one, then the 2 top ones. And don't forget to encapsulate the nut in there before you glue it all apart. And the one that encapsulates the nuts, there's a hexagonal cutout in the top for you to do that. And if you surround it with wood glue, that's not ever going to move. So here is the guide block for when you're sanding the chamfer on the new guide plate backplate here. So when you're doing this chamfer on this front part here, basically when this is not glued on, and making sure you put the chamfer on the right place, you can see here a cutout here and a cutout there, and the chamfer is here. So this piece, the bit with the angle, is at the bottom when you're chamfering. So this is the way you use the angle block. On the part that needs the bevel put on, there will be the wording top and 2 arrows which need to point down to the sandpaper. Now the way I found to do it is just to hold that down like that, and then slowly move that around and around and around, and eventually you'll end up with a bevel on that edge. So when the bevel, like this one, is about half the thickness of the material, that's good enough. The way you do it, I haven't got one here with me at the moment. I can just use this as a demonstration. So when you're putting the bevel on this part, basically you make this, you hold it, you hold that on there, and then you just do that motion. Keep checking what bevel you're putting on, adjust your finger position if you're getting it slightly uneven, but just do it slowly, and you'll get the right bevel sanded on this part just there. And then when you glue it up, so this is the top with the 2 holes, this is the bottom with the 4 holes. The small plate goes on at the bottom, the top plate goes on, the top plate here with the angle goes at the top, and that just helps when you're putting the laser down, it helps guide it into the groove. And then the bevels are there, so it's coming, that's the straight part there, and then the bevel is there. So that is a back plate there. If you've got a countersinking bit to be used, that's much better, or you can use a drill bit in reverse, but you get a much better taper if you have a countersink bit, and that's it. So making sure you've now got the bevels correctly locating on the aluminium. You've got the cutout there, you've got the cutout there, and the cutout there and there. What you're going to do now, you're going to apply glue on here and here, then you're going to put those on there and there, like so. Then you're going to just hold that with your fingers, pressing or squeezing in and just pressing down. Hold that there for a good 3 minutes, then take it off, being careful not to slide them. The glue should have gone off by then. Clean out any squeeze out on here and on here, then put those on clamps and let it go off for an hour. It's a new backplate, so take your time doing this. You might have to make 1 or 2, but basically when it slides on the laser, so the angle bits here go in first, and you can see there is hardly any slop there. Much better than the aluminium one, and when that is just sitting there, it's not going to move at all. So this one was one of the early ones I made, and if you just listen, there is a tiny bit of slop, but if you take your time making it, you can get no slop. Then all you can do is just put a bit of furniture wax on there and on the guides, and it just makes it slide a little bit easier. So yeah, take your time doing that, but you may have to make 1 or 2 to get it perfect. It's not, you're not going to get it perfect first time, but with this back plate, it does away with the need for the 2 screws and the thread here. It's taking the weight of the laser, and I've done some delicate work, and I've noticed no offset. So if I'm cutting a large circle, when the circle goes all the way round, the lines do join. But yeah, just give it a go. If you don't like this idea, you can keep the aluminium V-slot system and keep using the 2 bolts. But this, I think, is a much better system, because if you want to adjust your focus, all you do is you just turn the knob. Okay, in the next clip I show the top plate incorrectly installed. This is the front plate, so it sits on the laser that way, and then the top plate, the cutout here goes on the right hand side, and not on the left hand side as I shown. I was just dry fitting the parts in the next clip and I inadvertently installed that upside down. So before you install this on your laser, make sure the top plate is a firm fit onto the front plate. No need to glue this in case we have to remove this part. So when we remove the two plugs at the back, this may help us to get the plate out. So while you're waiting for these parts to go off, you need to put countersink holes in these positions there. Now the ideal way is to use a countersunk bit like this. If you haven't got one, if you've got a drill bit, 6 or 7 mil will be fine. Electric or hand drill, but make sure you put it in reverse. It does work, it's not ideal. Don't try and do it in forward mode, because what will happen is the drill bit will grip and you'll be through the material before you know. So that's why you have to do it in reverse. I'm going to do one side with this and I'll do one side with the drill in reverse and I'll show you the difference. So there you go, this side here was done with the drill bit in reverse and that side there was done with the countersunk bit. These two are the only ones that are really critical because they're further apart. These two, or these four, actually travel in the gap of the V-groove, so they don't have to be perfectly flush. But there you go, just wait for the other parts to go off and we can get the rest glued up. So because you've had these off the laser module clamping up, make sure the ones with the cutout here go to the top. Similarly this side, you can see the cutout just there, that goes to the top. And when we glue the base plate, the back plate on, the countersinks go towards the laser and the two holes go towards the bottom. So what I'm going to do now is put some glue here and here, stick that on there, make sure that they're nice and level at the bottom. Then I'm going to be pressing in with my fingers and also then pressing down. Going to do that for 3 to 5 minutes because this is the critical part. So what you want is the glue to go off enough. So, well, 5 minutes is fine, I believe. I've been using 3 minutes for these and they don't seem to move, but this is more critical with this one. I have tried rubber bands, but rubber bands I don't think work as well as you holding it. So, because you want a good amount of pressure going inwards. So, put some glue there, put that on there. 2 holes at the bottom. Hold it for 5 minutes, then slide it off like so, and then put some clamps on it and let it go off. Right, I've done a few of these now, so that's my rails. You can see the glue and you can see in there the glue. So what I actually did, I pulled it off after 2 minutes, cleaned up most of the squeeze out, then I pushed it back on and held it there for the full 5 minutes. Now I'm just going to clean the rails and clamp this up first. So then I'm going to use a flat edge and just scrape that glue out, not being too precise at the moment because I just don't want them to move. So I guarantee you once that's all fully cured, that is going to be a slop free mount, far better than the aluminium one. So it's just going off. So I'll see you in a few hours. Right, I use a riser leg here called my thin leg system, and what that does, it increases the height of the laser frame by 30 mil. So it allows me, if you come back here, my controller is off the deck. It allows me to put my honeycomb and my work under from the front loading, so I don't have to struggle trying to slide it down here underneath the laser module. So this block is now well, it's 29.5 mil above the floor. So this is representing where the floor would be on a standard laser, and the height of the mount is 310 millimeters, or just over 12 inches. And that's good because the standard longer enclosure is 330 millimeters high. So this will fit inside a standard enclosure. You can see my enclosure is not standard. Anyway, this is an old backplate, so I'm going to take this backplate off and install the new backplate now. Right, it hasn't been 24 hours, but I need to get this video finished. So clean the glue out as best you can, and then check that this slides up and down nicely on the rail. So I just need to hold the laser, and you can see that is sliding and there is no wobble. Okay, that is much better than the aluminium one. So let's get the back plate now mounted onto the laser frame, and then we'll get the module fitted. Okay, so this is representing the work tabletop, because as I just said, I've got my extended legs, they're up 30 mil, so that's representing the 30 mil. So the way you fit the diode. Okay, so now what you got to do is you slide the laser in. I'm going to get the handle, so I'm going to have to slide that up. Very awkward one-handed. Now I'm just going to turn that block around so I can do it one-handed. Okay, so now you're looking at this alignment here. Because we left the back plate loose, it can wobble, you see, like that. So it allows you to line up this to make sure the rod is straight. Then when you're happy, you can do the 4 bolts up on the back and then see how well that goes. Then see how well it goes up and down. That's fine. So I'm going to do those bolts up and going to put this on first. Going to let the laser take the weight. And now I'm going to do those bolts up at the back. So just do the 2 bottom ones because you can grip the nut with a spanner and do that. Check the alignment. So that's going nicely now. Now take the laser out. So to take the laser out, we have to lift it all the way up, bring it forward and drop it down. And now we've got access through these holes to get a screwdriver on the 2 remaining bolt. So now we can put a screwdriver through the front holes onto that bolt and do the nut up. So because I want to change focus quickly, all I'm going to do is lift the laser up, and then that I can just spin that nut down. That'll bring that up. There you go, that's it installed, the honeycomb. I have a 9mm gap under my honeycomb bed. Then I think that's 20mm work, 10mm focus, and there it is. So this now slides up very nicely. So you can get, let me put it up to its highest position now. So it will give you around 90mm from your work surface going up, and that is so the bottom of the laser is level with the rear plate. Anyway, that is it. If you painted that black, that would look really nice My early versions, I've got many of them. I made them smaller first of all, but that's it. Let me know what you think. If you see any amendments you think are viable, let me know and I can always add them. I hope you enjoy using the fine focus system. I hope you found the build easy once you know what you're doing with it. Yeah, it's taken a while to fine tune the design, but I do like it. I think it works well, and it suits me because, say, this front bit does pop off. That will come off there without taking anything off, so that then allows me to put my other plate there. That's it. Okay, thank you for the purchase of the file, much appreciated. It goes towards the channel to buy more test equipment and more materials. I'm not like Jeff Bezos buying yachts. I'm not that way inclined. Well, congratulations, you made it to my longer build video than I was expecting. So if you've got any questions, drop them down below. I am actively looking at comments and I do answer them quickly. I hope you enjoy the fine focus system. I am working on the longer B1 version as we speak, although I'm about to take a short break away from lasering and life. So and if you can see any modifications required on the files, let me know, and if I think they work really well, I'll add it to the files. Any revisions that are made to this cut file, you will get free issue of those because you've already purchased the file, so don't worry about that. Anyway, that's Andy as ever, wishing you a fantastic afternoon. Continue to make that happy, safe smoke, and let's see each other in my next video. Cheers for now. Thank you for making it to the end of my videos, much appreciated. If you like what I'm doing and I've earned your trust and respect, perhaps you would consider subscribing. If you leave a comment, I will answer them as well, and if you give me a thumbs up, it will put a smile on my face. Perhaps you would like some of the videos popping up now. See you in the next one. Anyway, I think that's it. Let me know how you get on. Any questions, drop them down below and I will come back to you as quickly as I can. So that's Andy as ever, wishing you a great afternoon. Thank you for your support. Continue to make some safe, happy smoke, and perhaps you'll join me in my next glow up video. Cheers for now.